Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro commentary, where we're finally fighting off against Electro himself in a planetarium. A rather unique video game area that you don't usually see in boss fights, but hey, pretty cool. To describe how Electro fights, it's kind of... well, I mean, I will say it's unique enough, but he does borrow a few attack patterns here and there from a Doc Ock from the first game. Primarily in that whole little, get away from me, shield burst attack, which is there to get you off his little electric barrier. Electro's attacks do hurt, so again, you really sort of need to pick your poison, but it's really just a matter of, again, knowing when, you know, he's in cooldown mode, and then just slaying the smackdown. Kind of a boring boss fight, to be perfectly honest, but then again, Electro was just sort of like boring, pish Spider-Man villain. The villain, really. I mean, why Electro tends to become one of the heavier hitters of the Spider-Man universe, but someone like Shocker was given, like, mercenary for hire stuff is a mystery to me. I mean, I suppose most Spider-Man villains do have their ups and downs, depending on how they're used as characters, but nothing I've ever seen Electro win has ever really made him interesting, and bear in mind, I've also mentioned previously that, you know, some continuities have made him the Red Skull's son, some have made him like a Spider-Man fanboy turned bad guy because of electric eels or some shit, and others have made him like this crazy lightning guy who loves power and wants to be living electricity, and none of it's ever been very fucking interesting. Like, I mean, even Enter Electro, the very game he's a star of, doesn't make him an interesting character. He's a, I mean, part of his character arc is interesting, that he wants to be a god of pure electricity, but it's not presented in a very interesting way, and it makes his rise to power just feel lame. Also, yes, there is a giant comic book hovering over the Earth. Science!
This is only the smallest fraction of my power.
Oh god, it seems that Electro's been watching one too many episodes of Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi Budokai Fuck Your Mother in the Ass whatever programs, and now he, like, believes in power scaling. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much there to indicate his second phase of attacks where, oh, now he has a laser pyramid. Whoopee. Why do they even have this inside the museum? Obviously, Electro's juicing it up, but, do museums usually have death lasers that they use to electrocute patrons going, oh, look at this bizarre power generator powering the exhibit, zap? I mean, I smell a lawsuit! But yeah, that's pretty much it. I ain't got much more than nothing at this point, so, yeah, pretty much just have the last two bits of trivia that's more relevant towards, the final super duper boss fight, because this is a regular Electro. What we need to see is the Enter of Electro. You know, he's all juiced up with his superpowers. Whereas here, he's pretty much just sort of fucking whatever, really. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I already had a planned thumbnail for this video, yeah, you do actually get some pretty cool gameplay shots when you get, you know, shots of, you know, the galaxies and Earth in the background.
I have to get to someplace safe while they're fighting.
Give me the jewel, Spider-Man! Give me the jewel, or this one dies!
Okay, how about a trade?
Throw the jewel and I'll send the doc. I can fry her before she ever reaches you.
Let's hope you're wrong, Electro.
Checkmate.
Huh? Whoa, 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 whoa!
Are you all right?
Can I get the license plate of that lightning bolt that struck me? Where's Electro?
He left. I'm not sure where to.
I think I might have an idea. Come on, Electro. Your power play ends tonight.
Tonight, Electro dances with the gods!
Well, look what we have here, a new costume unlocked for this specific final boss of the game. Yes indeed, we also have Battle Damage Spider-Man for... And you know what, for the final time, because you're gonna get your ass kicked when you're a superhero, especially if you're somebody with as many jerk-ass quips as Spider-Man, this will no doubt ensure that when you have the shit beaten out of you, that you'll feel like Spider-Man! Oh, that felt good to feel like Spider-Man. And that was the last residual Spider-Man feeling joke I'll ever make in this commentary. Or any Spider-Man thing, really. But yes, time for some trivia, because, yeah, you want to know why this game was heavily censored and had a gameplay scene of the mighty Thor cut out of it, as I'll talk about in a little bit? Well, because these two buildings were not connected by a little bridge stanchion, but they were in fact the World Trade Center. Yes indeedy, the Twin Towers. This was altered post 9/11, although some copies of the game do actually exist where, you know, the Twin Towers are intact and there is a gap between, you know, Building 1 and Building 2. Those copies are probably exceedingly rare, and well, you know what, I'll talk about that a little bit later, because to talk about the boss fight, at least very briefly, it's kind of boring to be perfectly honest. You basically destroy the tower so that... Ooh, Spider-Man destroying the tower. Can kind of see why the game censored that now, because it's Spider-Man destroying the tower and not technically the bad guy, so, I mean, then again, even if it was Electro, it probably still wouldn't have gotten far. But anyway, it's basically similar to Rhino's boss fight from the first game. You basically attract him to these little power generators, he gets stuck. And while Electro's directing his electricity, Spider-Man punches him up, whack switch, repeats, fuck it, do it all over again. A little bit boring, he'll shoot out some mines of electricity, just do the same thing all over again. It's a very pish final boss fight, and to be perfectly honest, it doesn't really boost Electro's power in any way, apart from giving him zappy, glowy shit on his character model. So really, Electro sucks. And yeah, you pretty much just have to bait him towards the thing, make sure his lightning hits, and you're golden. Like the comic books. Golden. Even though Spider-Man wasn't a golden age comic book character like Namor the Submariner, the Human Torch, not to be confused with the one from the Fantastic Four, whatever else. Anyway, my final piece of trivia for this rather tedious boss fight actually has to do with the game's ending cutscene. Again, the game's ending cutscene is pretty much going to play out as normal anyway, but there was a scene specific to the Twin Towers, which is probably why it was cut, and I guess was probably also cut out of the game because there was no way that Vicarious Visions could edit around it. But yeah, the last cutscene basically would have shown Spider-Man defeating Electro, and then having the mighty Thor, as in the superhero, show up in the last cutscene to destroy Electro's amplifier. I guess he would also take the jewel back and basically take care of everything while Spider-Man goes home to Mary Jane and enjoy a lovely Eggs Benedict. And yeah, after a bit of banter, that's pretty much it. I guess it probably would have also transitioned into the last cutscene of Electro, you know, grousing in prison going, yeah, I'm a pussy and I'm a complete bitch, wah. Also, I have a really bad character. Oh, wait, fuck. Again, I can't technically check what the joke was since it was kind of lost time, but there was a joke the Media Nerd made in one of his old reviews for Spider-Man the Animated Series that just... I don't know why, just like, I think it's his delivery of the line that made me completely fucking burst out laughing, but it was during the Hydro Man episode. It was like, also, I have no personality. And it just fucking... in jokes. But anyway, as for the Thor cutscene itself, there is evidence that it did technically exist. Not in any copies of the game, mind you, but instead on an old Activision website where it was available as a low-quality download. But yeah, it was taken down. The site does technically exist if you use the Wayback Machine, but the video file itself is still on there as like a download, but the download doesn't work and the cutscene is now lost to time. I do wonder, however, if it's possibly... if the cutscene itself is either still available on, like, some archived hard drives, or maybe data miners could, like, mine one of the 9/11 copies of the, you know, Enter Electro, that maybe the cutscene might still be in the game? I don't know. I don't know if data mining, like, PS1 games is difficult compared to games in today's day and age, where we have tools that are probably specifically designed for that, but again, you would have thought that, you know, people would have wanted to explore that, since again, there is evidence that it does exist, so maybe there is something that would shed a bit of light on that, but yeah, sadly, all that remains of Thor's presence in the game itself is basically a newspaper that does reference the cutscene that you're pretty much going to be seeing as soon as we're done here, with the Daily Bugle saying that Thor saved the city, so I really don't know what that tells you. The fact that J. Jonah Jameson is more trusting of ancient Asgardian gods, which exist, and technically shouldn't that also disprove a lot of people's other beliefs? Well then again, I suppose other gods and monsters exist in the Marvel Universe, so guess you're gonna have to bite your tongue on that one. But yeah, that's all that exists of that cutscene. Anyway, this has been a boring Enter Electro. We finally punked this punk-ass villain, and enjoy the cutscene.
This goes to show that good wins because evil is dumb. What the... Now what's this all about? Ugh, I need a new agent.
Full house, aces over kings. I win again.
I was never any good at poker.
No, so close, so close! If it weren't for Spiderman, I'd be a god now!
Would you shut up?
No.
You know any other games? All I know is poker.
Nah, but maybe they know a few. Hey! You guys know how to play Go Fish?
That ends the game on a great note, and there's also a nice reference to the first game. Now, I'm technically going to be staying silent for the first segment of the credits, since, again, it is technically Rino Romano's Spider-Man voicing lines here, so, I'll see you in a little bit.
Wes Merritt's a mutant? I knew it! Hey, are the X-Men hiring? Well, somebody has to root for the bad guys. Hey, I think I know that guy. It's Spider Gap. I could swear he was doing that the last time I passed by here. Where'd he go? All right, that's coming straight out of your security deposit. Wow, he does windows too. Ho, 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 she looks dangerous. Oh, come on, Carl, not again. This is the third time this week. No debugger and no RAM make Dave go crazy. I guess Ben is up to his normal shenanigans. Yes, nice texture, good contrast. Brent, this time you are responsible. There may be more of them. I should look around. You move me, Jim. You really move me. Who needs milestones when you can web swing?
And so, dudes and dudettes, that was Spider-Man 2, Enter the Electro, the last game in the Neversoft timeline, and quite frankly, I'm very saddened about that. In terms of what it does gameplay-wise, it doesn't really do too much to change the formula. I mean, you do get a few new webbing attacks, and it does sort of remix specific elements from the original game and contextualize them into new missions. And again, it's relatively fun. The only real downside I think really is that, well, it doesn't really do too much to shake up the formula. I mean, it does make greater use out of the web yank ability, but apart from that, boss fights are just okay, nothing great. I am kind of saddened that we didn't really get an interesting boss battle out of the Beetle. Speaking of the Beetle himself, his inclusion was rather pointless. They do nothing with the character, even as insignificant as he might have been before he became Mark X, and even in that case, I think the biggest problem with the villains in and of themselves isn't the fact that they chose minor ones, but more so the fact that they don't make the villains or specifically Electro himself, interesting. He wants to be a god and become pure electricity. Okay, but you should portray him as a bit more of like an insane cackling madman as opposed to the generic, I'm gonna be a god and kill Spider-Man because I wanna know what it feels like to feel like Spider-Man. But yeah, Electro's a bit of a pish villain that did nothing to make him interesting, and I guess maybe that apathy towards Electro is what sunk the game, and thus move on to Spider-Man movie tie-in games until they became less profitable and are no more than a pair of troublemakers. But I mean, all that aside though, as for, you know, the game itself, pretty fun. I don't think it'll probably ever get a re-release ever again, given the rather skewy rights of Spider-Man being between Sony, Marvel, and, well, not Xbox at this point. So, yeah, no more Activision re-releases of this game, I guess. But yeah, I suppose to talk about anything else. Wait, Jennifer Hale? So she was in this game, so why didn't we have Black Cat instead of Beast at the beginning doing the you know what, fuck it, whatever. To talk about future commentaries, actually, right after this one, we're going to be going to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I was initially going to do Devil May Cry, but I'm going to push that one back to next year, so in tandem with Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, since I know not everybody is a fan of Kingdom Hearts, I'm also going to be having another game running alongside that, and that is Batman Arkham Asylum. Yes, we see one hero from the Marvel side, so might as well see one from the DC side. The only reason why I'm specifically plateauing the Devil May Cry commentary for the time being is that we already did sort of have a Resident Evil thing with Resident Evil 0 before this game, so I figure for the variety being the spice of life and having a few more games to show off, yeah, Batman! But yeah, you also have, if you want something more lighthearted, you also have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, because I kind of want to get that done before the end of the year. Probably be a while to record, but nowhere near as long as Kingdom Hearts 2, so on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and, well, with nothing more to say, take it away, Stan.
Until next time, true believers, Excelsior!